Hello viewers, welcome to Newspaper Review on TAV TV. It is the 1st of August 2023, a beautiful Tuesday. And in case you're joining us for the first time, this is Newspaper Review on TAV TV, where we review, analyze, and dissect stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers. And I'm your host, Auhe Iwese Georgina. And joining me to review the headlines today is Miss Jennifer. Miss Jennifer, thank you for always availing yourself.
I'm delighted to be here, Georgina. How are you doing, and happy new month?
Thank you, and you too. How's the new month? Like, any plans? I mean,
yeah, there are lots of plans, of course. I'm dwelling on positive vibes. I'm a positive vibes person, and I always tell persons on my WhatsApp section, on my social media handle, I say, whatever you do, smile. More let it smiling through the month of August, and that's what it's going to be like.
Yes, and we're fast approaching the Ember month.
Yes, so of course, it's close to my birthday. Everything I'm doing right now is just smiling.
Okay,
yes.
Happy birthday in arrears, or is it advance rather?
In advance, not in arrears.
In advance.
My birthday, September will be my birthday, and I'm very much elated.
Okay.
I'm expecting it.
Okay, all right then. Thank you so much for coming. And so, to our viewers, this conversation will not be complete without you. Ensure that you engage, you like, you share, you comment, and you follow us on all of our social media handles. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the notification button to get notified whenever we upload any new content on TAV TVs. So, heading into the review for today, we are going to kick off with the Vanguard newspaper. And on page 13 of the Vanguard, we have tension as ex-Emir Sanusi's portrait reappears in Kano Government House. Tension as ex-Emir Sanusi's portrait reappears in Kano Government House. And on page 6, we have 110 suspects arrested as Fitchery relaxes curfew. Visits looted warehouses. 110 suspects arrested at Fitchery relaxes curfew. Visits looted warehouses. Still on Vanguard, we have subsidy remover. Tinubu orders federal institutions to stop arbitrary fees hike. Tinubu orders federal institutions to stop arbitrary fees hike. Still on the Vanguard, we have Tinubu attacks hardship with 500 billion naira palliatives. Tinubu attacks hardship with 500 billion naira palliative. That's on page 5 of the Vanguard. You want to find out more, grab your copy of the Vanguard to get more details of that story. Still on Vanguard, on page 3, we have Senate holds screening of 3 ministerial nominees over alleged forgery, age falsification. Senate halts screening of ministerial nominees over alleged forgery, age falsification. And that's all the stories would be taken on the Vanguard newspaper for today. And to dissect, we are going to head over to page 3 of the Vanguard. These stories there emphasizes on Senate halts screening of 3 ministerial nominees over alleged forgery, age falsification. Now, this is interesting. It's interesting. We have been awaiting the release of the Tinubu ministerial list, and finally, it's here. And
lots of drama is still ongoing.
Yes, and we've had previous governors who are still retained, ex-governors.
4 ex-governors are in the nominee list.
Yes, and then now they were screened yesterday. The screening began yesterday at the Senate, and interestingly, 3 nominees were screened out. Okay. For now, let's say they are screened out. They are screened out due to age falsification and age forgery. So, what's your take on this? Because now that means what's the future for these nominees who have been screened out for now?
Yes, I want to get it right here. It's not like this particular persons or the nominees. It's not as if they've been kicked out. It's not as if they've been told to go. They're still looking at it. The president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, have said it that they're still looking at their situation. And talking about these 3 persons who are there, we're talking about Bello from Taraba, from Sokoto. We're talking about that lady from Taraba State, and we're talking about the very rector of Federal Polytechnic in Benue, that is Wanuni. And of course, what brought my much interest towards this particular person is that he is a rector of
Yes.
a very prestigious
Institution.
federal polytechnic there in Benue State, and he is from the hometown of George, Senator George Akume. So before he got to that extent, the question is, when did this age falsification come in? Have the kind of situation we have in Nigeria, is it that before these persons reach that level, are their certificate not verified? Before he could get to that kind of position in the state, a federal polytechnic for that matter, let's look at it from that angle, before he got to that position. The persons in the screening position are actually claiming that you're trying to tell us that you were born in 1980 and you finished so level at 9 years. Does it mean that when you were when you were 3 years old, you jumped?
What happened?
What happened? And these other persons' cases have to do with their secondary school leaving certificate. So far, so good. In the cases of politics in Nigeria, we've really had lots of certificate issues. Let us remember when the pre-election, everything was going on, we were having fake certificate issues. But at the end of the day, the same persons, the same rumors, the same persons that were having rumors surrounding them of bringing a fake certificate, that are still in offices in Nigeria today. So that's why we're leaving it for the government to decide. It's no longer in the hands of Nigerians. If it were in the hands of Nigerians to decide right now, we'll be deciding that for these nominees. But right now, it's still in the hands of the Senate, the senators, to take the final decision. And that's so funny, why a person that have gotten to that level will be coming up with a fake resume. Is it that he didn't prepare it very well? So it's very funny. In as much as it is funny, it's actually pushing a lesson out to us. How naive are we? How corny can we be? What other ways are we using to get in there? What other ways are we using to get in there? This time around, it is the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that has picked. He took his time. I'm very sure that he took it, because it really took him about 56 days to bring out this list. So he actually took his time to pick. And that is why when it came to the case of El Rufai, he said, come and make a promise that you're not going to leave the country. And in the case of Wike, he said, come, tell us whom you are. And you asked a particular question, that this ministerial nominee list, must it be persons that have been in the system before?
Yes, a big question.
Are we talking about continuity? We're fine and good. So many persons are saying continuity and experience. Sometimes, if we still look at continuity and experience, you find out that the most aged persons make the most mistakes. Yes,
of course.
Some persons with the age don't have the content. When they get there, they do otherwise. So why not try the other persons? But since Mr. President says this is the best persons that he thinks is good to work with him to give us the renewed hope, just like I said on the other day's show, we are expecting that. And with the loss of screening that is going on, that's a very nice stride on the side of the president.
And that goes to show that the National Assembly, they are doing a very good job.
They are.
For them to
what we are saying so far, this is Nigeria, and I must tell you that I'm upholding everything in that Nigerian anthem as a Nigerian, justice, peace, loyalty, and all that. I know that there's also fairness, and this is where fairness comes in.
Yes. Finally, the National Assembly is living up to its name, the mirror of the society.
But Georgina, another question is, are this person not supposed to have been screened before entering the list came out?
Thank you. That's another loophole. That's another loophole. Another big question to look into. But then, like you said, he is our president. It took him a long time to put this list together, and finally the list is here. He trusts in their abilities and their capacities to deliver. So now let's leave it to the National Assembly to do their work and let's hope for for the best results, for the betterment of
We are
Nigeria.
really expecting the best because so far so good. We really need these ministers to get into office so that they can begin the work,
Obviously.
just like they promised us.
Very true. Thank you so much for that, Miss Jennifer. To the next review, the New Telegram, Nigeria's most authoritative newspaper. And the New Telegram is leading with the story on page 2. FG plans 400 billion naira intervention for manufacturing SMEs agri sectors. FG plans 400 billion naira intervention for manufacturing SMEs agri sectors. And on page 8, we have CBN exempts PMBs, MFBs from cash withdrawal limits. CBN exempt PMBs, FMBs from cash withdrawal limits. And on page 3 and 5, we have President removes restrictions on student loans. President removes restrictions on student loans. Still on New Telegraph on page 3 and 5, we have despite broadcast, NLC insists on strike. Despite broadcast, NLC insists on strike. And on page 2 of the New Telegraph, ministerial nominees take a bow and go. Senate tells Wike 8 others. Ministerial nominees take a bow and go. Senate tells Wike and 8 others. And still on New Telegraph, we have insecurity. IGP OK schools protection squad. Insecurity, IGP OK schools protection squad. And on page 3, we have judiciary loses 2 judges in 1 day. Page 2 and 3 of the New Telegram captures that particular story. To get more, just grab your copy of the New Telegram. And to dissect, we are going to go over to page 3 and 5. President removes restrictions on students' loans. President removes restrictions on student loans. This is actually very interesting. It is interesting. At the same time, I think it's a beautiful development for Nigerian students, right? Nigerian students, because initially when the student loan bill was introduced, we were excited. However, when we went through the processes of acquiring the loan, we were like, are you sure that this is actually for the interest of the Nigerian student? Because one of the rules or the processes there says you must have 2 guarantors.
Yes.
And then the first guarantor must be a civil servant with at least a level 12.
Yes.
And then the second was that you must have a lawyer who has about 10 years of experience. And then the question now is how does a Nigerian student actually get access to those kinds of people? Another thing is the people that you get connected to when, say, for instance, now let's say the student, you have a brother or you have because a guarantor is someone that you trust, right? It's someone that you're supposed to trust. But the problem now is this guarantor graduated from school about, say, 4 years. And if we were to add ASU strike and everything, maybe 6 or 7. And then when you're done, you have to go for NYC. And when you're done with NYC, then you're supposed to look for a job, which then becomes difficult. And then this civil servant is supposed to be a level 12. I mean, how does that work for you? I mean, how do you begin? But now the president, yesterday's speech, it was encouraging, right? He said he has removed the restrictions, and I think this is, like I said earlier, it's a beautiful news. And what's your take on this?
Yes, just like you've mentioned earlier, it's a nice stride on the side of the president. The development really makes sense, stating from the fact that lots of persons who heard that this particular development is coming up, student loan. And along the line, the students were like, what kind of loan is this? What kind of a loan is this? I need to do so many things before acquiring it. This is no longer a loan. This is as if, I'm being taken into slavery. So with the crying, with the anguish, with the way persons, let me say, well, notable persons in the country who believe that they've spoken to Mr. President. And in my own little way, I will say that the cry of the masses has gotten to Mr. President, and that's why a change of mind came up rather. But before then, you will ask a question. When he made his address yesterday, he stated so many things that will be subsidized, so many reasons why he is taking away those clauses from the student loan. It's a very nice one, but we've not come to know what it will take to get the loan right now.
Yes.
I hope I'm right. So we've not come to know what it will take
as
to
opposed
get
to the first one,
that loan. And to everyone that is also to get the loan means that you must have finished university from, yes.
To get the loan, you must have finished the university.
Yes. It's not why you are in school.
No, the loan is for those who are in school, those who are about getting admission into school, or who want to go to school.
Okay.
So that's what the student loan is all about, to aid you through your schooling year.
So on the other hand here, if you still say that Mr. President is removing the whole condition, the entire condition surrounding the loan, it becomes a grant.
Yeah, and a beautiful thing too, right?
It is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
It is a beautiful thing where in the Nigeria of today, you're giving a grant to a person that is maybe in final year, maybe to a person that is just gaining admission into the higher institution. It is a very nice thing.
Yes.
Nigeria can do it.
We can.
They can do it. So if every condition surrounding this loan be removed, I mean, the students are now expecting that this is a grant. This was given to them free, and they'll be happy.
Yes.
And this will work.
It will.
This will work.
Well, the only problem now we have is implementation. So
when we get to that level, we will cross it.
Okay.
When we get to that level, we'll cross it. Remember that Mr. President had promised us that he did not come to add to the suffering of Nigerians. Rather, he has come to relieve them of the pain. He has come to readjust some things that are not normal.
Yeah.
And that is in line with what he's doing right now.
Okay.
Though it might not just, Rome was not built in a day.
Actually.
Before a development will take place, before a building will take place or something, you need to pull down other structures to bring up a better one. Yeah. So with what he is doing, it's a very nice one on his side.
Okay.
Kudos to Mr. President.
All right. Kudos to Mr. President. You are doing a great job. Your first 100 days in office, despite subsidy removal, despite all manner of strike actions, we are grateful. We are impressed, and we are looking forward to greater things
just that they
for
don't
us.
want to. Sorry for coming in, Georgina. It's just that they no longer want to call it free education. Yes.
Okay.
If Nigeria can come up just like in the past, the persons that have ruled in the past, some persons, they were free education, where you can go to school without bothering, without saying, I want to pay my school fees.
Yes.
The government, everything is subsidized. Now that subsidy is being removed.
Yeah.
And they're saying student loan. If it becomes a grant, just like I said earlier, why not?
It's
a nice one.
Definitely a beautiful development. It is a wonderful development and the right step in the right direction, Mr. President. So Nigerian students are waiting. Yeah. We're waiting for the implementation part. That's where we know that that the policy is actually workable and it's operational. Yes. All right. So heading over to the next review, the Nigerian Tribune. However, before we review, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey there. Are you looking to record your videos, do your voiceovers, and take your professional pictures? Look no further. With our state-of-the-art newsroom, photography, kitchen for our food content creators, and exclusive children's studio, we certainly can deliver the best studio experience. Our carefully designed studio space can bring your diverse creative content ideas to life. We aim to consistently serve value to our customers far and wide. Come, let Tharv Media give life to your dreams. Tharv Media, a slice of infotainment.
Welcome back, and you are still watching Newspaper Review on TAV TVs. Heading over to the final review for today, the Nigerian Tribune, Nigeria's most informative newspaper. On page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune, Oyo workers protest, lock secretariat. Oyo workers protest, lock secretariat. And on page 16, we have Senate screens Wike, Edu, Tunji Ojo, 11 others sustains bow and go practice. You want to find out more? Grab your copy of the Nigerian Tribune and check out page 16. And still leading on Nigerian Tribune, on page 2 and 3, we have salary review coming, 125 billion naira to energize MSMEs. Tinubu. Sub-stories there says approves buses for tertiary institutions, removes restriction on student loans. Sawo Olu okays 50% fare reduction in BRT ride water transportation. And on page 4, we have Adamawa looting police arraign 110. Adamawa looting police arraign 110. And on page 15, we have PEPC Tinubu Atiku Obi to adopt final written addresses today. PEPC Tinubu Atiku Obi to adopt final written addresses today. And on page 25, we have Nigeria records 839 cases, 83 diphtheria deaths in 8 states. Nigeria records 839 cases, 83 diphtheria deaths in 8 states. And that's diphtheria. I hope it's not COVID. I hope it's not another wave of COVID.
Anything that looks like COVID is not expected to come back to this country. It's not COVID, but it's very dangerous.
Very dangerous, very, very dangerous. And we pray it's not. Still on the Nigerian Tribune on page 3, we have speech done to convince organized labor not to embark on protests. Atiku's aide, Labour doubts his ability to control inflation, gasoline prices, insists on strike. And that's a reaction of the former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Atiku, to the presidential speech that was delivered yesterday by the president himself. So still on that particular news, Miss Jennifer, what's your own mixed reactions? Now, we have a few reactions, like SPACs expressed concern on this particular loan, and we have others saying this policy is actually good. It is good, but then how are we going to implement it? That will be coming from Ube. Comments president says powerful team needed to implement policy. And then we also have experts express concern on loan moratorium roles of other tiers of government in this particular policy implementation, because some of the president's key points were government to spend 75 billion to fund 75 enterprises at 9% per annum interest in 9 months. Another says 1 million business buses to get 50 billion naira conditional grant. Another says 1,300 bus businesses in each of the 774 LGs to get 50,000 naira each, and the list goes on. Yes, these policies are interesting, and yes, it's like big dreams and big visions. And Mr. President, we applaud you. That's some of the reactions. But some people are saying, okay, what about the roles of the other tiers of government in this? And is how feasible is it? Because we know Nigerian struggles when it comes to implementation. We struggle with that. Really, yes, it's our major problem.
That is the major problem. Implementation. From the president's address yesterday, from the speech that he made, no one will say that the speech was not a beautiful one. It was a well-arranged, a well-constructed address. And the key things that are bothering Nigerians were everything in that speech. Yes, the key things, the key issues, the economic problems, the loan issues, they were the major things that were contained in the president's address.
Every section was represented.
I love President Tinubu so much because everything he wants to do is always very calculated. But now, we are bordering on the implementation of this entire content
Yeah.
of the president's address, and that's why the former president, the former vice president came out to say, is this a step to stop the NLC from embarking on the strike just as they have proposed? That's on the other hand. But on the other hand, some persons have also said it's a nice speech, just like I'm saying. But our problem is, how do you implement this? And foreign investors have said, have you looked at the Monetarium aspect? Let me tell you about Monetarium. We'll look at this loan. When do you intend, this loan you collect, when do you intend paying it? At a particular point in time, when do you intend saying you're not going to pay? This is the interest going to pay.
Yes.
What is the plan like?
Yes.
You don't just come out and say 50,000 to so SMEs, nano buses to this. Right now, we need more than this.
Yes.
Mr. President, please, in your address, tell us how in this Nigeria economy, how we are going to get the manufacturing sector to work very well.
Yes.
How do we get the agricultural sector to function very well? Let us look at the abandoned projects. There are lots of factories.
Yes.
There are lots of manufacturing companies that has been right from time, but right now they're not functioning.
Yes.
Go to places like the Jokota Steel, go to places like Abia State in Aba. You have the meteorological industries. They're not functioning.
They are not.
We have some breweries. They are not functioning. We have this textile something.
Okay.
They are not functioning. Glass industry, glass force, mention it. If you bring these industries, these companies to function,
Yes.
unemployment will reduce.
Yes.
There becomes employment. There becomes insecurity, becomes less, because it is the tools. The youths, the persons that are perpetrating this act, which are the able youths,
Yes.
are the persons that are supposed to be controlling the machines in these industries.
Yes, but
but
they're
they're right
jackpot.
there in the street doing nothing. And so many of them are jackpot. So let us talk about that. Why not talk about how you will get this manufacturing industry to begin to function? There's a particular place that I know of, a Gary industry, but I don't know how it works. Do you want to tell me that if you get these particular companies functioning, that the people will still be complaining? No.
No.
The persons will not complain. Rather, they'll
course
be
not.
complaining for something else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So let us look at that aspect. It's not all about giving money. Sometimes you give this money and people are not doing it. Sometimes this money don't even get to the right persons.
That's the problem.
They
That's
don't get,
implementation.
that is implementation we are talking about.
Yes.
Before it gets to the grassroots, to the person that really need it,
Yes.
to the farmer in the rural area that needs it to secure a particular hectare of land, that needs it to secure tractors to farm his land, before it gets to the person, it has already finished on the way. So let us talk about how to get all the sectors booming, or how to repair them.
Yes.
And give employment to the persons in Nigeria. Right now, employment is the core thing. In every family that those days used to have about 4 to 5 to 7 children, most of the persons in that family are unemployed. They are
Yes.
actually self-employed. And in a situation whereby self-employed is everywhere. I'm a mechanic, you're a mechanic.
You're all
I'm a hairdresser,
contributing.
you're a hairdresser. Who will make your hair? You will make your hair, I'll make my hair.
Yes, of course.
You have the machine, I have the machine. So how do we now get money out of it? That means we're making for our own personal consumption.
Yes.
It's no longer for commercial use.
Yes.
So
Actually,
the
it's no
question
longer.
in the address is the implementation.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the
the major.
implementation of the process.
Yeah, that's the major. I've always said with our leadership in Nigeria, that has always been our major problem. We don't know how to implement. Like you said earlier, something about not get these resources, not eventually getting to the actual persons that really need it. So it doesn't get. In fact, it doesn't get to just like what happened to our palliatives, COVID-19 palliatives. Let's not even begin to talk about how that happened and the embarrassing situation over that.
Yes.
But then again, Mr. President has promised, and he came out yesterday with all of the key points, agendas, promising us a lot of changes, positive changes, including buses for students across tertiary institutions, which is a good thing, removing all of the restrictions, which is a good thing. In fact, he cut across every sector, every single individual in Nigeria. I'm pretty sure everybody was represented in that speech yesterday. And so what we are now praying and looking forward to is that Mr. President, you will implement. That's all we're asking. Please look into a more positive implementation process that will, in fact, make sure that these resources, this policy, in fact, gets to the people that actually need it. That way we can all contribute our quota as Nigerians and make Nigeria great again. So, Miss Jennifer, thank you so much again for your contribution. That was really wonderful. Thank you for always coming on the show.
Highly delighted.
All right, and that brings us to the end of Newspaper Review on TAV TV. Thank you for always staying with us. Thank you for always tuning in. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media handles. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to also click on the notification button to get notified whenever we upload any new content on Newspaper Review with TAV TV. I remain your host, Alwe Iwesi Georgina. Until we come your way again next time with another interesting episode of Newspaper Review. Bye for now.